All right, guys. This brand turned what I thought was a great performer, the Nike Kobe 9, into an even better performer, which was the Puma Clyde All-Pro. And with these potential bad girls right here, I think they may have just done it again.
Excellent.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a detailed look and breakdown on these potential bad girls right here. This is the Puma Stewie 3. So far, a very solid offering as far as a signature series or line is concerned from the Puma brand, but this one kind of levels things up a little bit. I was actually shocked when I got these in, how different they were from the previous two, which the previous two were pretty much the same shoe, just like a slight makeover. Not this one. But before we get started, I just wanted to give a quick reminder to help us out by leaving a comment, leaving a like, subscribe if you haven't already, do those algorithmic things that help the algorithm see us so that they can push out our channel, show us to potential new viewers, and help us grow the channel overall. And with that being said, this is the box. I don't know if this is going to be the box for every particular colorway. Puma has been known to basically make new boxes every time, or at least new colored boxes every time. So while this might be the main theme of the design, I don't know if it's going to be the same exact look going through, especially since this one very much is, in line with this particular colorway. So maybe the next colorway will be a similar design, just done up in that shoe's color. However, as far as the shoe is concerned, these things right here just feel really, really good. And they remind me again of a previous Kobe, maybe one of the best out of the line, or I wouldn't say the best, but the last best, before they did the AD stuff. We actually have a video on them, and it's these guys right here. This is the Nike Kobe 11s, and that's what these things right here really remind me of, and I'll explain why in a minute. But first, the outsole looks amazing. It does look very tight as far as a traction pattern is concerned, so will this pick up and clog up on a dusty floor? It's possible. However, they do explain, at least in the press release, that this is high abrasion rubber, so you should get really good grip, especially if you have a fairly decent or a nice court. Most of us already wipe as far as like when we're playing basketball anyways, even when it's not needed. It's kind of like a force of habit at this point. But either way, this I actually probably would not take outdoors unless that's your only option. If you only play outdoors, then obviously do what you need to do. But as far as durability goes, it does feel just a little soft, even though they do claim that it's high abrasion rubber. It's just very thin, you know what I mean? One of the things though that I really like about this, and you'd have to like really get in close to see it, but if you look at each of these grooves, they're almost serrated. It reminds me a lot. Can they see the shoes back there, like at the top, or no? So like back there, there's the rare metal from Brand Black. That shoe had a similar type of feel. So with this guy right here, what I'm expecting to get out of them basically on a clean court is a lot of individual gripping. You know what I mean? So like, I guess if you weren't wearing shoes and you were gonna move, your floor grippers would do their thing and like really maneuver and stuff like that on the floor. So that's what I'm expecting all of these little nubs to do. Now the cushion is where things really start to, don't want to call it elevated, but that's the only thing that I can think of right now. And I don't consider this type of system an elevated system either. I do just personally prefer traditional midsoles, outsoles, and uppers, but we've got a new drop-in, guys. This is crazy. One of the things that I will say that I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I'm gonna say it anyways because it's kind of what I do, but I found out recently that Puma shares a factory with Series Player Only, and obviously Puma was using the factory first since they're an older brand and stuff, but I just found it interesting that all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Like I was just like, what? Like Series Player Only comes into play, they start doing drop-ins, and they don't just do drop-ins, they make it a full system. They do what Nike never did. They're committing to making multiple midsoles interchangeable with all their products. I think it's a great thing to where if you're gonna do something like this, go for it. You know what I mean? Like,
Just do it!
so I think that's awesome. I just found it odd and funny that all of a sudden Puma's got one, and I was just like, you've never done this, man. But I will say that this drop-in feels awesome, and I think that this is where the comparison to these guys really come into play. Not only does the shoe kind of like look similar where there is just the outsole and then boom, you jump right into the upper, and yes, Series Player Only also does that with their Player One and Player One Plus, but inside of the Kobe's also a drop-in. This is not news to anybody at this point because Kobe's are kind of old at this point, you know what I mean? Like it's standard. But one of the things that they definitely never did in the Kobe drop-ins was actual like torsion support. So that's what's in this Puma model. And I think that that's really cool. Like this right here, it's a really hard, firm, like I can't tell what it is. It might be P-backs, it might be something else. But either way, it's in there and it's not in the Kobe's. These Kobe's don't even have a shank, you know what I mean? So I think it's very odd and hilarious that there are so many people nowadays that claim that they want something like that, but you guys were playing in this just fine and you didn't say So, you know, there's plenty of Kobe models with drop-ins that were just like this, even the lower end models like the Mentalities and the other ones. I can't even remember what they're called. But anyways, the midsoles or the drop-ins, they feel like an elevated version of the Kobe. So I think that's cool. The one thing that they're missing obviously is the Zoom Air, but they don't need it because they've got their own stuff going on. So the blue foam right here is Pro Foam Plus, which I believe was used. No, it wasn't. Sorry. I was thinking of the, I think they called it Pro Foam Light. That's why they need to be consistent because I can't get them all straight. And you know how many brands are in this brain?
It's a lot!
So what we've got here is Pro Foam Plus. It feels good, feels very lightweight, believe it or not. The shoe itself is the main source of the weight of the model. So when you pull this out, it's not doing much of anything. Like this right here is just an empty shell and it still is a hefty shoe. So they're not skimping out on anything. It doesn't feel like a shell of itself. And then along with the shank plate right here, this pad in the forefoot is probably my favorite feature as far as visuals go. And that's their nitro foam. So this is the stuff that they've been using in most of their shoes, the Lamello line, and I think the previous Stewies as well. This is the thing that I love seeing. Like, I've seen this before because I've been to Puma HQ, but being able to see it in your product or our product, the stuff that actually comes to shelf that we can grab and we can pull this out and see what they're actually putting in their footwear, this is something that I think is awesome. So I love this. It's not a super thick pad or anything, but it's just enough. Like, this is no thicker or thinner than the majority of Zoom Air units. One of the cool parts about something like this is that this will actually last a little bit longer than something like that. So while Zoom is very durable, its only downside is that it's encased in plastic, and plastic just doesn't age as long as something like this will. Now the upper is very structured, but also very nice. As far as the textile is concerned, it doesn't feel super soft or anything, but it's definitely malleable, like it moves and everything like that with the foot. So it doesn't feel as restrictive as something that's heavily glued or got heavy TPU welds on it and stuff like that. So I like this, even though there is plenty of stuff on it and under it, but it still feels good. So I like that. One thing is that I definitely question its ventilation. Like, I don't think that that's going to be super ventilated, but you know, we'll find out. In addition to that textile build though, you do have the typical heat welded stuff. So you got like the hot melt materials, obviously in the high wear areas and the bonding areas. So textile, glue, and rubber, while they do mix decently well, it's not something that's like perfect. So having this little like plastic or TPU panel in between that, that's what the glue is really going to bond to. And so it's going to be a nice long lasting product. And then on top of that, you got it all in the high wear areas like the eye stays and stuff like that. You've got the form strip on there, which is cool. This big old support piece though that you actually see the design for on the box is pretty crazy. This just looks really neat, at least I think. And not only that, but it's also an actual support piece. So it's a big old lateral panel, but it doesn't restrict movement or anything like that. It's just going to be there for additional reinforcement. And if we're going to compare these to, again, the Kobe 11s, you're sitting wider. So I think that this is also a great move. So while these guys had dual outriggers, one on the heel and one on the forefoot, this one doesn't really need it because it's wider, it's lower, it's also rounded and everything. So it's made for mobility. So it's kind of like if you were to mix a Kyrie and a Kobe together. One thing that I did question was that eye stay area, because I saw that big old rope, you know, the weird panel that we've been seeing on certain models used as the eye stay area. Luckily, there's additional eyelets like actually punched through the upper, so it's using both things. So I think that that's also a good move. It's going to be extra strong, extra durable. So you're not just relying on that rope piece. It's got both of those things in there. One thing I don't like though is actually the laces. I don't know, it's just kind of weird. They're big, you know what I mean? So they look weird. I will say that flat laces are best for like relieving lace pressure or avoiding lace pressure, but the tongue is nicely padded, so I don't think that'll be a true problem. And on top of that, you can still get wide flat laces, but have them a little thinner than this, you know what I mean? These are kind of like ribbony. I just don't love them. Obviously an aesthetic thing, so you know, take that with a huge grain of salt, not a performance feature whatsoever. Just one of the things when I see the shoe, I'm just like, I don't know about that. And then inside the rear, this is the thing that's keeping this, again, I still don't even have the midsole in there, so the forefoot's nice and flexible. The heel is very rigid, so that's exactly what you want. All that support is right back here. This is what makes low tops wearable. Now, this guy right here has got additional reinforcement in there, so not only do you have that lateral panel right there, but inside you got a really substantial like heel counter internally. As far as sizing is concerned, I would go true to size. You will be good to go. They feel and fit just like the Kobe 11s, but they just feel like better.
That's high praise!
Again, lower, wider, more rounded, better upper, more flexible, all that stuff. So I think that this is going to be a good move. I'm really hoping it's a good move. The only thing, will that traction be good with heavy dust? We'll see. But with all that being said, do we happen to have a question of the day?
Yes, we do.
Why do you look like that? Is it like a weird one?
Yeah, I'm going back to my old tricks and I'm giving you a question of the day instead of a viewer question.
This is not an audience polled question?
Yeah.
Well, If you guys wanted to participate in the questions of the day and not give her all the power, leave the questions down below. And no, I don't know how a blind man wipes his butt and when he's done. Okay, I just don't. All right, so let's get that one out of the way.
Would you rather know the date of your death or the cause of your death?
I don't want to know either of those. You're gonna cause my early death by giving me that information.
Which one?
Either. Because I'm going to be paranoid about how I die. Like, what if they tell you you're going to die by choking on a chicken? What are you going to do? Avoid banchan your whole life?
Maybe.
No, you can't. It's too good. And plus, we eat chicken like primarily as our protein source. And then on top of that, if you tell me the date, then I'm just paranoid for that date coming.
I would pick the date.
Because then you would live it up until that date?
Yeah, I would like be able to plan out the rest of my life.
And then if you died before that because you did something a little too risky, would you laugh in the face of God and be like, haha?
I guess.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I would either know I have to plan for a significant old age,
Okay.
or I could just like be like, okay, I don't have to worry about that.
I think I see what you're saying. I do agree with that, actually, that logic. Because like you're saving up all your money like a squirrel, and then for what?
Right.
Like what if you die and you don't even get to enjoy it? Kind of like with the shoe thing. Like
Kind of like Alanis Morissette.
What?
Isn't it
What?
ironic? He finally got on the plane and then the plane crashes. He waited his whole dang life, and as the plane came down,
No.
he said,
Well, isn't this nice?
Okay, so I suppose I would pick knowing the death date for your logical reason, which makes perfect sense. But what would you guys prefer to choose? What was the first option? I don't even remember.
To know how you're
No,
going
how
to
you
die.
died. Yeah, actually, really after thinking that, I really don't want to know that. Because like, what if it is something f***ed up, like impaled? Some like weird like Final Destination type.
exactly.
I don't
There's
want
an
to know
entire
that.
generation who will not drive.
Oh, I
in a
still
logging
don't.
truck.
Yeah, anything that's big on a big rig, I'm like, no, I'm going to the side or trying to pass it. Call that. Anyways, I hate would you rather questions, but if you wanted to answer it, feel free down below. And again, if you want to take the power back from her over there, leave awesome questions of the day. Make them basketball related, shoe related, whatever. They could be action figure related. Somebody just asked about the t-shirts. Where do you get them from? Check the last video, bro. Leave them down below. We will answer them one per day, one per video, I should say, not per day, just in case we skip a day. But sound off below. Let us know. Stay tuned for hopefully a performance review, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to these. I actually got a bunch of cool stuff. I don't know if I'm going to, no, I won't show you now. I'll just show you later. Thank you so much for being here. We'll hang out with you guys next time. So until then, have a good one.